Dear students of Honors Second Year, this is Tamina Madam. Today I am going to take your class on the poem She Dwelt Among the Untrodden Ways, written by Williams Wordsworth, from your course called Romantic Poetry. Before going to discuss the poem, I will tell you about the poet. Williams Wordsworth was born 7th April 1770 in the Lake District of England. He spent his childhood roaming around the countryside, which developed his love for nature. He believed in nature as a healer and teacher. He went to Cambridge University in 1787 and after graduation traveled Europe. He spent time in France where he embraced the ideals of the French Revolution. Wordsworth wanted to break away from 18th century neoclassic poetry that focused solely on the lives of the great and the wealthy. He is known as an English romantic poet. Shelley called Wordsworth a poet of nature. His most famous work was Lyrical Ballads, which he published with his friend S.T. Coleridge. He died on 23rd April 1850. And here is the poem. I am going to read the poem now. She dwelt among the untrodden ways. She dwelt among the untrodden ways beside the springs of Dove, a maid whom there were none to praise and very few to love. A violet by a moss stone half hidden from the eye, fair as a star when only one is shining in the sky. She lived unknown and few could know when Lucy ceased to be, but she is in her grave and oh, the difference to me. And now I will tell you about the poem. She Dwelt Among the Untrodden Ways was written in 1798. This poem is classified as one of Wordsworth's Lucy poems. Wordsworth examines an idealized and unrequited, unrequited means one-sided love for Lucy, a girl who died when she was young. And if you go through the poem, you will find the theme. The main theme of this poem is death, a death that is described and grieved for throughout the entire poem. The subject of the poem is Lucy, a rural girl who meant a great deal to the speaker. Her worth was never recognized by anyone in her life. And now I would like to analyze the poem in this way. The first stanza describes the area in which Lucy, that means she, lived. This rural scenery is described as an idealized, beautiful place. Lucy was alone and there was no one to praise and love her. The first line, which also serves as the title of the poem, suggests that Lucy lived both physically and spiritually unrevealed and distant. The second stanza focuses on nature. The speaker compares the beauty of nature to the grace of Lucy. She is likened to a violet by a mossy stone, half hidden from the eye, and to a fair star. These comparisons serve to exemplify Lucy as an embodiment of all beauty. In the third and final stanza, Lucy's death is expressed with great sadness. This stanza shows Lucy as a distant and unknown. In the first stanza, she is presented as alive, whereas in the last stanza, the speaker talks about her death. And if I go through the poem, I would conclude the poem in this way. Like other poems of Wordsworth, this poem describes intense emotions. In this poem, the poet has deep feelings for an unknown rural girl called Lucy who died when she was young. Thank you, dear students.